Welcome to Sales is Not a Dirty Word, the podcast that shows you how to convert 8 out of 10 sales conversations without acting like a douchebag. I'm your host, innovative sales coach, Aleasha Bahr, the creator of the Black Sheep Sales Method. Because if it's a fit, it's a fact, and there is no selling involved. If you're a service provider selling your own service and you're ready to sell differently than the mainstream status quo and win more sales without pressure, pitching, or pretending to be someone else, then this is for you. If you want to know more about the Black Sheep Sales Method, then go to aleashabahr.com. So this episode is with Bob Woods. Bob Woods was one of the first people on LinkedIn, literally. He joined in December 2003 when LinkedIn was just a few months old, and he's never looked back. An award-winning salesperson, Bob has utilized LinkedIn and social selling even before social selling was a thing. Bob has trained and coached sales professionals around the world at companies big and small to effectively use LinkedIn and other tools to start sales conversations with qualified buyers. Specific companies where he has trained salespeople and teams include Experian, Penn Mutual, State Street, Fiserv, Trios, and UPS. And Bob is very aligned with my approach to sales in the way that he's not just about pressure and manipulation and aggression. And that is always a message that I want to lift up and spread. So let's go. Welcome to the big show. Sales is not a dirty word.
Thank you, Aleasha. Appreciate it. And yeah, we are definitely simpatico when it comes to, how to sell and not manipulation and just being a genuine resource for people, and the sales will come when the time is ready.
Totally. So I first want to start with understanding, because if you started social selling before social selling happened, I imagine it was a whole lot easier, and you've seen a lot of things change since then. And so how has it evolved since, you started doing it initially? Is it the same? Is it different?
Um, I do think that the overall idea behind it is the same in terms of providing value and talking about, not about how you help people, but just helping people. But you do that through your content. And when you do that, you're seen as an expert without calling yourself an expert, because you're just out there and you're truly helping people. So hopefully they will want to contact you and get a conversation started, which is, what this is all about ultimately, is getting sales conversations started. This isn't just out there, this isn't just someone out there being the typical social media influencer and just driving people to like a site where they buy something, or, whatever it is that they do. I don't care what it is they do. I want to have our people start sales conversations based on being genuinely helpful.
Yeah, I love being genuinely helpful, especially because it's rewarding. Like, it feels good.
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%. Could not agree with that more.
Yeah, so I'm sure there are certain types of personalities that might thrive a little better with this approach, or does it work for the more aggressive salesperson too? Do they know how to do it? Do they want to do it? Or are they like, this is a waste of my time? I just want to
Yeah,
focus on
no,
this.
normally a lot of the more aggressive salespeople probably won't even reach out to us, just because they feel like what they're doing is already working, even though it may or may not be working. We do not trash on people who cold call, because some people do cold call.
No.
Some people are very successful at it. We would not want to talk anybody out of doing anything that they are already successful at.
Yeah.
The people who we are interested in is people who are frustrated with cold calling, or people who just don't like it, or whatever it is that they're doing,
Mhm.
and they're looking for a different, more authentic and genuine way to do things. Now, that being said, we do have some people who are in our clientele who used to be much more direct, and used to, and used to be that type of person who we just discussed. We have to work a little bit more on training them to just be more open and to slow things down a little bit. But once they do get it, and once they're like, this could actually work, they usually come around and are actually much more receptive to the way that we do things, which obviously is very different from that, from the aggressive type and from the manipulative type and from the that type of person who we all think of as the stereotypical salesperson. We don't want Our people are not stereotypical salespeople. They are people out there who are genuinely helping people, who want to help people, who see the value that they can potentially receive in helping people. Because even when you help people through your content, you may help one person directly, but then there are going to be other people who are like, I wonder what this person thinks about this because this is similar to my situation, but mine's a little bit different. I wonder what this person thinks about X or Y or whatever. That's one of the reasons why you want to do this type of content so that people can actually see themselves to a certain extent in there, but yet the situation is just different enough to where to where the prospect is like, I'm not really sure exactly how to do this with what Bob just said. Why don't I reach out to him?
Yeah. Okay. So you're focusing on inbound more than anything, it sounds like. Well, probably a combination of the two, but the
Yeah, it's
situation
a
just mentioned.
combination. You can definitely use social selling for outbound as well. And we have all kinds of techniques so surrounding that. It's mainly using LinkedIn right now, but still there is a way to utilize LinkedIn in a genuine way. I know that's a shock to a lot of people out there because they're all getting bombarded with messaging that is obviously, feels like it's spam or whatever. We don't teach anything like that. We teach how people can be authentic. And a lot of times, people think that they might be authentic, but it's not being received as being authentic. So we help them adjust
Mm.
things in their messaging so that the authenticity that they're really trying to present is actually being presented. And that's just what happens a lot of time. A lot of time people, they may send a message and we're like, well, that's not quite what you wanted to say there because it feels it feels a little pushy because of this is this, and they're like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. It's like, well, yeah, that's why we're here to actually teach you how to do it in a way that feels authentic to the person who's receiving it.
Well, and there's a lot of nuance to that. And
Yeah.
I really love what you're saying because I recently created this sales personality assessment.
Oh
And
yeah.
it sounds like the overall point of it is that there's not just one sales personality that's good for sales, which is what people have always said, right? Like
Oh yeah.
it's this driver person.
Right.
And that driver person can be great at sales, but a lot of times you meet
Mm.
that person and you're like, this person's going to be a sales savage, right? And then they're
Hmm.
mediocre. And it's because of what you're saying. You have to soften their language. And then the people who are too soft, you have to give it a little bit more structure. And I love that you're, working within their personality and what feels good to them rather than
Hmm.
this one size fits all kind of a thing, which
Yeah.
is ultimately what's going to make somebody successful.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one size fits all isn't authentic. I mean,
True.
I think that when a lot of people, they buy a sales book and they're like, "Oh, well, this guy did it. I might as well try it myself." And what's in that sales book may be totally different from what the person who is actually using the book is like in real life. And they go out with this aggressive or whatever thing. I don't want to say aggressive necessarily, but they go out with this different persona of themselves, and because it's not them, it doesn't feel authentic. That turns people off.
Totally. There's an energy there that can be
Yes.
felt. And
Yes.
it's not something necessarily that's seen, but it is absolutely felt. And so whenever you're saying that you're presenting this information that's genuinely helpful online, I can imagine that some people are like, how the hell do I create that content? It sounds like a lot of work, and I don't even really know where to start.
Hmm.
So what do you usually, for the people who are thinking that, what would you say?
Yeah, so I mean, AI is getting to be a really big thing out there now, and it's with good reason because when used correctly, it can work. And I do mean when used correctly, because nowadays, whenever we get messaging in, we can kind of look at it and go, okay, this feels like something that a computer wrote. Because guess what? It's probably something that a computer wrote. So, we actually have just recent, and I don't want this to be too much of a commercial, but this is like one way to get around this type of thing. We've recently introduced Ask SSL at askssl.ai. This is a combination of an AI platform, training, and then actual continuous mastermind coaching and support as well, to help you do all different types of things, including what you just said, but do it but use this tool and everything in a way that's authentic, in a way that's genuine, but in a way that's set up for you ahead of time, or we help you develop something depending on what the situation is. But so that you're getting consistent output, you're getting things done in a much, much, much quicker time than if you were sitting in front of your computer screen and going, oh my God, what am I going to write about? What am I going to do here? The AI, and with our training and our support, can actually help you get all of this stuff done quicker, quicker, more effectively, and actually in a more authentic way as well, so you can sell. Nobody wants to be working an hour on an AI prompt and still not have it work for them, because that takes away from time that they could be doing other things. We know that. That's why we developed all this stuff in the way that we developed it, because we want people to go out there, to be building relationships, to be having those sales conversations, to be closing business. God, we got to close business too. So, all of this stuff, we really feel with our new tool, that this is going to be just a tremendous aid for anyone who is a revenue generating, revenue driven, whatever you want to say, professional.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that is really cool about this tool specifically is that it's built with sales in mind, which is a
Yes.
different way of creating content. It's something that a lot of people don't understand the difference in. Like, is this a piece of content that's going to generate sales, or is this a piece of content that people are just going to like, or is this a piece of content that people are going to scroll past and forget about entirely? Um, and so it does make a difference for the AI or copywriter that is working with you to have that end goal in mind when creating the content. And I can see how that would be very powerful.
Right, yeah, and it's not even about having sales driven directly from these pieces of content, because that's just straight advertising or marketing, and that's fine. I mean, people can definitely
Right.
do that. People do that all the time. The salespeople wants to start conversations. That's what
Yeah.
the goal is there. That's what all of this content, that they can develop, is designed to do, to help people out, to answer their questions, all that type of stuff. Bring all that together so that when they see it on LinkedIn, when they see it in a blog post potentially, or on Instagram, or even if you're on X or Threads or wherever, depending on where your audience of prospects is primarily at, um, to really generate interest, so that hopefully people will look at that and go, yeah, I kind of need help on that. I'm going to reach out to this person and see if they can help me, or to get their opinion on something or whatever. Get the conversation started, get the relationship going.
Yeah, I mean, that is an important detail. I meant with the lens, the focus to get sales conversations
Yes.
start, not
Yeah.
necessarily sales, because
Right.
if
Yeah. No.
your AI could do that, then I'm sure you would charge a lot more money for
Yeah.
it.
I would, yeah, I'd be sitting back with a bourbon in my hand and just watching the numbers go up. But no, there is definitely a little bit of work still involved, but because of our focus, and because we have prompts that we know that work for people that are in there, and because we offer the training and the support, we believe that this is going to be such a tremendous help for any revenue driven professional, whether they're a salesperson, whether they're an entrepreneur, whether they're a coach or a trainer, or whatever they're, essentially. This could be a really big help to produce quality content, to produce quality ideas, and do it in much, much less time so that people can actually be doing their more of their business at the same time.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the things that I really like about your approach that I feel very strongly about is that, everything that we do is if it's a fit, and it's okay if it's not a fit. And one of the things you
Yeah.
say is detach the worth of the prospect to you and attach the worth of you to the prospect. So instead of just
Yes.
thinking this person is this amount of money for me, you're
Hmm.
thinking, I'm open to exploring if there is some way we can collaborate together on a solution and leaving space for the possibility that we can't. And it sounds like this content kind of brings light to the things that somebody might not be thinking of that
Yeah.
would make a difference in their business or in solving the challenge that they're having and that kind of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I've discovered is that when you present content, whether it's in a post or maybe it's even within your LinkedIn profile, that you're pointing out potential problems that someone may be having. When that person hears about that, they tend to like start to open their minds a little bit more because like, yeah, this is a problem for me. I wonder what this person has to say about that. And then that's when the content comes in and starts filling something in that they may know about, they may not know about. If they don't know about it, hopefully they'll go, that's really interesting. And again, maybe I should reach out to this person to find out more about it. And plus, if they're looking at someone's LinkedIn profile and this information's in there, because of the way LinkedIn works, you as a salesperson or revenue driven professional can actually see who has visited your profile. You can then reach out to them and say, hey, saw that you visited my profile. Wonder why you stopped by. And that's simple. And that's a little bit more of the outreach there. But there are outreach driven things that you can do on LinkedIn as well. It's not just inbound. We can do, we can help with definitely with outbound as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's definitely where I wanted to lead the conversation next because I know people struggle with how do I engage those conversations. And so the content creates the profile views. That's clear to me. Somebody sees the piece of content in a feed and they say, oh, who is this? What is this? I want to look into this
Mhm.
more. And then that really provides a less pushy way of reaching out. So the way you usually suggest to reach out is to say, "Hey, like what's going on? Is there anything in particular I can help you with?" Or is it really just asking like what made you stop by and check it out? Or are there like a variety of approaches?
There are a variety of approaches because it's going to depend where they're coming in from and why they're there. So one of the things that we encourage, for example, is for not only to um, for you to publish content yourself, but to also comment on other people's content.
Mm-hmm.
But when you comment on someone else's content, add value even to that person's content, not in a way that like tries to
One
threaten
ups.
or yeah, yeah. No, it's a great way to put it. Don't one up the person, just add something else or maybe a different point or or something like that. Always with the intent on adding to the conversation. So in improv and comedy, there's this concept called yes and
Mm-hmm.
you yes and it so you're never going against anyone, but at the same time you are adding value. Hopefully when someone sees that, they'll go, that's a really good point. I wonder who this person is. Click through to the profile, get
Yeah,
the
and I mean,
contact.
sometimes the best way to add value is to let somebody know that they're doing a great job, that you love what they said, that this is, the type of content that makes a difference. Thank you for
Mm.
creating it.
Right. Here's here's I love what you just said. Here's why.
Okay.
That's I mean, and then
Oh, that's the
obviously
comment.
give
Yes.
the right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Yeah. Yeah. This was a great thing. Here's why. And then obviously tell them why. But
I love
yeah,
that. I love that little structure.
yeah,
Because, what an easy way to make an impact and add value to somebody, just like letting them know that they're, you know, people
yeah.
just don't hear it enough. that they're doing a good job.
Especially nowadays online. Yes, agreed 100% there.
Yeah. So also, what issues do you see a lot of people who are selling something make in their LinkedIn profile? I know that's a big focus of something that you help people with too.
Yeah, people talk way too much about themselves.
Hmm.
Um, the headlines that they have are always focused on them and what they do. I am, I do, I help,
Hmm.
or it's just account executive at XYZ company, which tells nobody nothing about what you do. Um, for that type of thing, you immediately need to have a headline that speaks to the person, why they might be there. You want to say who you help, how you help them, the services you provide, the results you bring, all of that into that headline because you're talking to the person and you're not talking about yourself. I mean, think of it just like a networking event. If you do networking events right, if you're talking about yourself all the time, well, you're not actually doing it right then. You want to find out about other people and their problems and their situations and not necessarily be absolutely selling there. And most times you probably won't unless you come across the unicorn where it's like, oh my God, this is actually great. Doesn't happen
Yeah.
that often though. But and you want to have that type of feel throughout your profile. You want to help people in your profile, especially in the about section. You can talk about yourself, but you need to do that a little bit farther down, especially like farther down your about section, and then especially in your experience section. That's where you really get to talk about yourself. So it's not
Hmm.
like it's not like you're just talking about the other person. You do need to say at some point, um, here's me, here's why I think I can help you, but that's much farther down. You really need to bring them in towards the top at the top and then towards the top and then kind of lead them to that by being of genuine help.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are in sales just kind of have a resume, right?
Yeah, yeah. So LinkedIn started as much more of a resume site. That's quite frankly where they still make most of their money is off of jobs. And that's fine if you are looking for jobs. Keep using it like that.
Yeah.
We don't want to,
Right.
you know, and if you're a job seeker, don't listen to what I'm saying because that's exactly what you
Right.
don't want to do. But for salespeople, you really don't want to talk about yourself because who cares if you won? I shouldn't say who cares. A prospect more than likely isn't going to care that you've won President's Club three years in a row, that you've been the top 5% in your sales, of sales in your company 5 years in a row, or whatever. They want help for themselves. None of that type of stuff helps them at all.
Yeah, if anything, I would imagine that it would make them sort of like more guarded because you're good at sales. So what are you going to like use your mind voodoo to like, get this person's money? It makes it seem
Yeah.
very self-serving and about
Yeah.
the commissions and accolades that somebody's getting instead of the impact and problems that they're solving.
Right, yeah. If you can't catch them with really good content that they care about in their headline, and then also have a good profile photo, and then a really good, even it doesn't have to be a great banner, but just anything up there that doesn't necessarily talk about you specifically. There are times when that could be a little different, but just generally speaking, um, focus on them because if you don't they're gone. Account executive at XYZ company. Okay, on. That's literally how little time you have.
Yeah, and I mean, as buyers, you just don't want to talk to nobody wants to talk to a salesperson.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I guess you do if
Can
you're
I
in
help
the
you? No, I'm
store.
just looking. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just looking. Just don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's the equivalent is being like, I'm a salesperson, and then nobody wants to talk to
Yeah. I'm a salesperson. Here's my song and dance. Look at
you.
me. This is
Yeah.
about me. And okay, what do you want? What can I sell you? I was like, no, it doesn't work like that. And it doesn't work like that online, especially not on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So, okay, to summarize here, um, focus on the value that you can bring to someone in your content and also in commenting on their content. And you shared such a
Hmm.
great format for doing that without them having to think about like, how can I give some like powerful insight? Because I know that that just stops people and paralyzes them
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yes,
Although you did create a great AI assistant who could help them with that additional insight if that's something they wanted to use it for.
absolutely.
Yeah. And then
Absolutely. Yeah.
the profile is also, really focus on making that about the other person, and your experience is still on it. It's just like the third or fourth thing. And you
Hmm.
shared a wonderful strategy for reaching out when people are looking at your profile, which is very unique and specific to the LinkedIn platform. No other platform shows you that somebody's looked at your profile.
That is very true. Quite frankly, I'm a little surprised that other platforms haven't done that yet because I think it's truly a great idea, but for whatever reason they don't do it. I don't know why.
Well, at least LinkedIn did something cool because I swear a lot of times I'm like, what are you doing? Like, who is leading things over there? Like,
Yeah.
they keep like
Yeah.
removing features that are really helpful and then adding ones that nobody asked for. And I just
Yep.
feel like it's somebody, some old dinosaur who's like, I've got an idea. Um, and like everybody just is like a yes man around them or something, like
Yeah.
is what I envision.
Yeah. Well, one of the big things about LinkedIn is that it's incredibly siloed between its teams. They don't talk to each other.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's
so
not
that's
good
like
in
a little
any
bit of
company.
yeah, I know. So and and it's LinkedIn and they're a huge company already and they're within Microsoft and you get all of that type of thing going on there too.
Oh,
So
yeah. Lots of red tape and
and I
bureaucracy.
still like LinkedIn. Don't get me
Of
wrong, but I
course.
mean, but no platform is perfect, no organization is perfect, and we just got to deal. We just got to, just got to deal basically.
Well, you have shared some great ways to be effective within the structure that LinkedIn has provided. And so that brings us to a great stopping point for this episode of Sales is Not a Dirty Word. Thank you so much for stopping by, Bob.
Thank you,
And
Alicia. Appreciate it.
yes, and what if somebody wants to work with you or learn more about you, where can they go?
Well, they can look me up on LinkedIn directly, just Bob Woods. I should hopefully pop up there. The company is Social Sales Link. If you're interested in finding out more about the Ask SSL platform and everything that we do to support you with using AI through the platform, the address is AskSSL. That's all one word, AskSSL.ai.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you found this valuable, please share, subscribe, review, and until next time.